They don't have borders in Europe. But when it comes to us, they say, no, you must have borders. Why? The division of of Africa is what makes them thrive. They thrive on the division of the African continent. Can you imagine the minerals of DRC combined with the minerals of South Africa and with a new currency based on the minerals? What we can do to the dollar if we become a United States of Africa with our minerals alone? We can collapse the dollar. We can collapse the strong pound that is based on gold, yet they don't have a gold mine.
So on, how do you tackle the issue of migration? Briefly, as we close.
What migration? Because there were no borders. Your problem is that you are saying you don't want colonialism, but you embrace the borders that were brought by colonialism here. Amen. There were no borders here. There have never been borders here. And that, is it Berlin Conference? It's not long time ago. It's traceable. The borders started then. The people will never leave their countries to your country if their economy and their government is working. Limpopo is very poor. There is no border between Gauteng and Limpopo. But Limpopo people have not left Limpopo to come to Gauteng. Yet Gauteng has got more resources. Why can't they leave Limpopo and come here? If these people wanted to come here, this fence was not going to stop them. No one wants to come here. They are coming to look for opportunities, and that's what we must encourage with all of you, especially the unemployed youth of South Africa. Let Africa be your playing ground. We were conditioned to think that we are superior and we are a country that is defined out of the continent. There are many countries in the continent that are doing so well, and they can use your skill, and they use dollars, by the way, some to pay.
Okay.
So our position didn't change.
All right.
I have no time for borders. Why? I have no time for colonialism. How would you say to me, go and change French on the passport, and then come at the same time and say, when's my board? Leave the borders alone, but remove French. Removing of French on the passport is part of decolonizing South Africa. So you can't speak in folk tongues. It has to be very clear. No one is going to come to our country. They don't have borders in Europe. But when it comes to us, they say, no, you must have borders. Why? The division of of Africa is what makes them thrive. They thrive on the division of the African continent. Can you imagine the minerals of DRC combined with the minerals of South Africa and with a new currency based on the minerals? What we can do to the dollar if we become a United States of Africa with our minerals alone? We can collapse the dollar. We can collapse the strong pound that is based on gold, yet they don't have a gold mine. So why do you allow such things? So my position is informed by that. And someone says, no, we won't vote you if you say such things, we won't vote for you. He's asking me to lie so that he can go around saying politicians lie. When I tell the truth, I won't vote for you. I must lie so that they can vote for me.
All right.
There were no borders, and we must all of us unite in that call. Free movements of persons, free movements of goods will make this country flourish. We will even produce our own products. One thing that you South Africans undermine yourself with is that you are the America of Africa. If you are to produce anything here, Africa will receive it with both hands. They will say, this one is from South Africa. You are known for quality, yet you still don't produce a car. Open the borders. Let the goods move. Let people move. Then produce a car that is South African and sell it to the billions of people who are out there waiting for products from South Africa.
All right.
We don't produce anything, yet we've got market.
I suppose you might be aware that many Africans think borders should be withdrawn. Well, not withdrawn, but redrawn. To abolish borders on the basis of free movement of trade, including people, goods, and capital, is desirable. Overall, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement presents numerous benefits to intra-African trade, including market expansion, increased trade and investment, economic diversification, improved infrastructure and connectivity, harmonization of trade rules and standards, enhanced competitiveness and job creation. Nevertheless, the removal of barriers to movement in Africa will increase intra-African tourism and trade. Africa is a large place, but individual countries are such tiny markets that they find it difficult to attract foreign investments unless they have copious amounts of things that can be removed from the ground. And to make it larger, we can look to free trade, free movement of all factors of production.
My jacket, made in Kenya. My t-shirt, made in Kenya. My bag, made in Kenya. We're getting to the jeans, we're getting to the shoes. Rome was not built in a day. We have so many opportunities to work with the gifts that God gave us, these two hands, and enable ourselves to create jobs for ourselves. The one hindrance that Africa has, and we need to really speak about this, is these borders that were put for us that don't make sense. These borders have landlocked us to a point where I think we're also mentally locked. If I want to send this simple satchel all the way to Accra, Ghana, it will be cheaper for me to send it out of the continent and then back in, because intra-African trade is not being looked at properly. If our leadership said, open up these borders for free trade, open up these borders, trust me, generational wealth would be made within a span of 5 to 10 years, because we have enough brands on this continent. Imagine 1.2 billion Africans, not to mention the 200 million in the diaspora. You take 1% of that. If they can all access these items, what would happen? Would have created generational wealth. And generational wealth, if it goes into black hands, it will alleviate global poverty.
You know, these borders, and I also mentioned to my brother, these borders that you create silos for yourselves amongst, you must always remember, are not your creation. These were creations of people outside of this continent who made these borders not to develop you, but to extract from you. Now that you want to develop yourself, we must start looking at these borders, and we must start removing the barriers that we have put, that have defined us in the past, and now hinder us from being the giant that we should be.
So back to the main question. Should the African borders be withdrawn, and why? Or rather, what would have been a good way to draw borders in Africa? So let me know what you think about this motion in the comment section, and your time is indeed appreciated.